I love that song, and it actually matches what we're going to be going over. What we're going to be going over this morning. The fact that we're not promised tomorrow, are we? We never know what's going to happen from day to day. We have no way of knowing what tomorrow has in store for us, and we can look around at our family members at the house. We can look around at our friends, and we can look around at each other in this building this morning, and we can't say that we know that that person will be here with us tomorrow, because there's too many things that happen all the time. We're not even promised that tomorrow is going to be an easy day or a hard day, because of certain things that can happen in our lives. But we are promised one thing, that if we're a child of God, He won't forsake us, meaning He won't leave us out here in this world to take what this world throws at us without being with us and going through it with us and giving us strength and encouraging us to go on, that we can make it through the hard time. If there's one thing that we've all probably learned as we got older, is the fact that our lives are forevermore changing. Ever since the day that I become saved, I notice more and more that I catch myself thinking, man, I never thought I'd be saying that or doing this. And also I'd say, I'd never dreamed that this or that would have happened. Yesterday I was out there knocking doors, handing out flyers, and me and Kim was giggling a little bit. And I said, yeah, 5 years ago, we'd have laughed at people if they'd have said that there's going to come a day we're going to be out there knocking doors, trying to get people to come to a church. Because I used to not like people to knock on the door at my house on the weekends. I figured that was my rest time, and them Christians are actually being just a little bit rude to come interrupt me while I'm trying to enjoy my weekend. And there we are, them people. And I remember giving a Sunday school class in here about 1.5 years ago. A long time ago when I was a kid, I made fun of a man. He was kind of a, I don't know how to say it, a tender man, I guess is the way to say it. And he got up in that church in Ridgeland, and he was saying how happy he was, and he just so glad that God had given him that day. He was just so happy that he could just even get up that day and serve the Lord. And I remember sitting back there thinking, well, I'm glad you're real happy and everything, but why don't you hurry up with the lesson so we can go home? And then I got in here, and I was telling Miss Claire and Miss Esther that, God has turned me into that man. I was so happy that morning that I just couldn't hold it back, and because I was realizing how God had made changes in my life, and I was beginning to see those changes, not just reading about changes in my life, but seeing them and living the changes, and how God really can put happiness and peacefulness in our heart. And you have the same bills every month, but all of a sudden those bills weren't bothering me as much as they used to, and the little things that bothered me, the people that bothered me, didn't bother me anymore. So it is funny, there is things that will happen in your life, and you'll look around, you'll say, I never dreamed this would happen. And it especially happens after you become saved. There's a saying that the only thing that stays the same is the fact that there will be change. And that too may even change, because when the full glory of God is revealed to us, whenever we all start our eternity in heaven, we don't know if there's going to be any more changes or if everything's going to stay the same or what. But right here today, we all probably agree that our lives are forevermore changing. The simple fact that y'all are sitting out there and I'm standing up here and we're all in this church building this morning shows true that we can say, we can honestly say, I never thought this day would happen. As we go through this morning's lesson, y'all, we're going to be in the book of Acts. It's going to be Acts chapter 12. Acts chapter 12, verses 1 through 19. But as we go through this morning and as y'all listen for God's message that He has for you in this message, watch and think about these people in this story and watch how their lives are drastically changed in just a matter of probably less than 30, 40 hours, just in one day's time. Y'all are turned to Acts chapter 12 already. I'm going to start with verses 1 through 3. And it says, "Now about the time Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church, or to harass certain of the church, and he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread." In the lesson this morning, y'all, the time period that we're in Jerusalem, and we're in about 44 AD, so it's about 11 years after Jesus was crucified and arose back up out of the tomb. At the end of verse 3, it lets us know that all of this is taking place during a Jewish holiday. It's a 7-day festival called the Days of Unleavened Bread, which follows Passover. It starts right after the day of Passover. And Passover to us is our time era that we call Easter. I'm not sure exactly what the days are, but it's Easter. This festival of the Days of Unleavened Bread starts right after Passover. So knowing that there would be a whole lot of more Jews in town more than usual, King Herod Agrippa I, that's actually his name, Agrippa I, he decides to impress a lot of them Jews by harassing certain members of the Christian community. So he has the Apostle James killed. And it says with the sword. After doing some studying, I found out that he was actually beheaded with a sword. They used to use the axe, but they decided before this, they decided that, using the sword would be a less barbaric form of execution for the Roman soldiers if they did anything wrong, and also the Romans, and also for the ones whose crime wasn't enough for crucifixion. When Herod sees how much the people really enjoyed this, he decided to have Peter arrested also. It kind of makes you think, I don't want to talk about our politics, I just want to pray for our politics. I'm going to pray for our leaders. But it is a game that they play sometimes, and we want to pray that they get out of those games. Popularity should not be how things are run in our world, but it is run by popularity. It needs to be run by what that man or that lady, that politician, what they really believe in, what they're going to, the kind of issues they're going to push. Let's go to verses 4 through 6, please. And it says, "And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. Peter therefore was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto God for him. And when Herod would have brought him forth, the same night Peter was sleeping between 2 soldiers, bound with 2 chains, and the keepers or the guards before the doors kept the prison." Back in the book of John, chapter 21, verse 18, I'll read it to you right fast. I'm not sure exactly how much time this was before today that we're talking about, but Jesus had already told Peter about this. He had already more or less prophesied to Peter, told him what's going to happen. Jesus told him, it was the day that Jesus asked Peter 3 times, "Do you love me?" And each time he said, "Feed my sheep, Peter." Jesus said, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, when thou wast young, thou girdest thyself and walkest whither thou wouldest. But when thou shalt be old, thou shalt stretch forth thy hand, and another shall gird thee, and carry thee whither thou wouldest not. He said, there's going to come a day, Peter, when somebody else is going to carry you somewhere you don't want to go. This day is coming real in Peter's life. He's getting arrested, and they're carrying him to prison. There's also going to be, for the people that don't, people in this world that we can't get to, that we can't lead to Jesus, y'all, those people are going to have that actually happen in their life. There's going to be one day they're going to come to their judgment. They're going to hear, you're going over here on the left side. You're going to an eternal fire, and there's nothing you can do about it. And they're going to be sent where they don't want to go. Now Herod has Peter arrested, but he decides he's going to wait another day until right after Passover before he brings Peter out for his public trial so that he can have him killed just like he did James. That way he can just milk this opportunity, this festival. That way he can just milk it for everything that he can. He puts Peter in the custody of 4 quaternions and Peter, because he don't want to take any chance of Peter getting away, because he's going to bring Peter out tomorrow, out there and have his trial in front of everybody, and he's going to kill him and the people and all the Jews. Now these Jews we're talking about now it's the Jews that killed Jesus, that crucified Jesus. It's not the ones that are converted over to Christianity. So he makes sure Peter can't get away, and he can soldiers watching him. That's his ticket to a whole lot more popularity. Notice in verse 5 how it says that the other people of the church were praying for Peter. It's a good thing to be part of an assembly like this right here, brothers and sisters. Because, when you're out sick or whenever we hear here at this church and we hear that your family's going through some problems, or even if it's financial problems or health problems, no matter what it is what's going on up here Wednesday nights is the same thing that's going on right here that this story's talking about. There's a group of people gathered up somewhere praying for you. And that's what we do here Wednesday night. We pray for the people. All the ones that are mentioned that we know that's having some problems in their life, we pray for them. And these people, just like us, they don't gather up and talk about people. They gather up and pray for people. It ain't going to do no good for people to gather up and gossip about other people, what they're doing wrong. But it'll do a lot of good when God sees us gathering up and praying for each other, praying for the people. So the same thing is happening right here in this story. These people are praying for Peter because they're worried about him. They've already had one brother killed, Brother James, and now they're praying for Peter. They don't want him to get killed too. I was thinking also, verse 6 says that here's Peter asleep. He's chained up with 2 chains between 2 guards, and there's more guards at the doorway at each gate. And I was thinking, evidently, I guess Peter knows, and Peter, it must be calm, he's sleeping. I bet Peter knows what we should know, that God's got this. I'm in a situation I can't do nothing about. God's got this. When I'm in a situation that there's something that I can do something about it, that's when I'll go to work and I'll be concerned and I'll ask him what he wants me to do. But whenever I'm sitting here in chains, the 2 chains between 2 guards, there ain't nothing else I can do. I can't beat the guards up and escape, so I got to turn it over to God and trust him. That's what we need to do. Also, we all need a good night's rest, don't we, every night? I believe that if we spend all day long living for the Lord, the best that we can, that's the night that we will lay down and get our best rest. Because we'll lay down knowing that we handled that day properly. And we'll be assured that God's got control over the things in our life that we don't have control over. Because there's a lot of things in our life that we don't have control over. We would like to have control over our children, the ones that are out of the house now, paying their own bills. We don't have control over them. we would actually like to have control over each other sometimes.